Hey guys, happy Monday. Welcome to another episode of Model Mania. You guys know that I am a huge advocate for model safety, and so we always talk to you about what to do and how to do it. So today's show is literally going to be just that. We are going to talk about safety tips, top to bottom. And when I think about safety, I think about Jade, because I think that most models in the St. Louis area will come to Jade for safety tips or even to check a photographer or something like that. So my guest today, you guys have seen Jade on some of my other stuff before, but Miss Jade Stoner, welcome.
Hello.
And Jade, of course, helps out with Model Boot Camp. She does streaming and stuff like that in the podcast suite, and she kind of helps out with lots of things. So, but recently, Jade got to model in Shutterfest.
Yes.
Which is exciting.
So much fun.
Okay, so before we continue, and I want to show some photos from Shutterfest before we dive into the safety stuff. But tell everybody, what is Shutterfest and how do models get involved with that?
So Shutterfest, first off, is a huge modeling and photography convention. Mm-hmm. You have to apply and get selected to be a model for them. They only accept at most, I think it's 250 models right now, at most. Mm-hmm. So it's a very limited space.
And models from all over the country are applying, not just locally. Yeah.
But the good thing is, and the great thing is, though, we get a lot of photographers from all over the world. I got the awesome opportunity to work with somebody in Canada, as well as originally from Puerto Rico or Brazil, I do believe.
Very cool. So, yes. Yeah. And being able to work with guys, I'm telling you, a photographer in St. Louis, a photographer in that lives maybe in more beachy areas or New York or things like that. They're all different. Everybody has different traits and customs and things like that. So it's very interesting to get to know them, and get to know their background, but to see how they incorporate where they're from and things like that into their
visuals.
The visuals and how they see things. So very interesting. I know that one of our in-house models, Paige, shot with somebody, and he took a picture of her with this crazy arch, and I was like, man, I never would have got down. I think I would have went back and broad, but his vision was just an amazing. So it's cool to get to see that. I know, but she looks so tall, and she's not tall at all, but she looks like 100 foot tall. Okay, so a couple of photos I want to look at from Shutterfest, and first of all, this one. Because wings are a big thing at Shutterfest. Everybody wants to wear the wings. And so talk to me about this outfit. Did you get to pick this out? Were you styled here?
So I had talked to the photographer who I had originally booked that shoot with. And she's like, oh, I have wings. I have this crown. I'm like, cool. I have a gold and white goddess outfit. And they just went together so perfectly.
I agree.
And we had the location kind of pictured, but then we were just kind of went with it because we were told we couldn't move the piano anymore.
No.
Somebody had moved it onto the light room, the actual light floor. The piano weight just can't be on the...
Yeah, can't be on the glass. I know,
And then the other crazy thing about this is it was the first time at Shutterfest. I actually had about probably 15 to 20 photographers
shooting at once.
And it was a shoot on Monday. It was a private shoot that I had planned with the photographer, and she was nice enough to be like, here, this is what my light is set at, and gave her light channel. And
very cool.
So it was like, wow, I feel like I'm a somebody right now.
She felt like the paparazzi were taking photos of her. That's funny.
Absolutely.
That's so cool. That's really cool. And that's the neat thing about, I think, Shutterfest for the models, because they really do get to feel like that. It's sometimes as a photographer at Shutterfest, I'm like, dang, all right, let me step back and let you guys take your photo, because everybody is like, oh,
can I please shoot that?
Can I take a picture?
But what's even better about Shutterfest is all the photographers will totally allow that.
Yes, that's what's cool. It's kind of a community of just sharing and allowing other people to learn with you and have the opportunity.
Yes.
And very cool. Okay, so one more picture I want to look at, and then we're going to dive into the safety tips. All right, is this right here. Jade was just on my podcast Tea Time, and I don't think that this photo had been posted yet. And so I love this color on you. And I never would have imagined that I would, because I think because of your tattoos, because they're all so colorful, that I'm used to seeing you in poppy color
or
clothes.
Black.
Yeah, or black. Yeah. So I just never would picture this color, but I really like it, and I think it looks super classy.
I felt like a princess the entire Shutterfest when they're like, here, be in dresses.
Wear this dress.
And I'm so used to shooting boudoir that I'm used to, bra and panties, we're done.
Yep, easy. Yeah, easy peasy.
So when she brought me that dress and I saw the way it shined in the light, I'm like, this is going to look like I am dripping in gold.
In gold, yep, for sure.
And it was just, I couldn't say no.
Yes, I agree. Very cool. Okay, we'll look at some other pictures throughout the episode, of Miss Jade. But I want to dive into safety tips, because that's what today's episode is about. When you start modeling, safety is the utmost importance, everybody you meet is going to act like they are the best thing that's ever happened to you, or they're going to act like they're good when maybe they have bad intentions. So you just have to make sure that you have a checklist of things that you do that are going to ensure that you stay safe. And so the first one on Jade's list here is, don't be afraid to go check somebody out on CaseNet, And I say this too, sometimes even it's good to pay for those background subscription things where you can run background checks on people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what do you, CaseNet is going to show you everything. Any case, any
charge, even if it's something as a brake light ticket, you will know.
Yeah.
And for me, that's really important because I have shot with photographers who are now in jail or have had, multiple rape charges or whatever it be. I have, when I started, I ended up just like everybody else, and I worked with the crappy people. And after that, I'm like, no, I cannot do this. I need to make sure 120% that these people are safe. I have a family at home. I have a daughter that I have to be able to come home to.
Exactly.
And I have to be mentally okay coming home to her.
Exactly. 100%. Yes. And that's important too. Yes. And human trafficking is so bad right now, guys, that, when I say that it is one of the worst things going on in our country right now, it's absolutely absurd how many scams that there are going and how many people are involved, people that you never would dream are involved in some of these rings.
How many models are involved?
Yes.
Even in recruiting girls. Yes. I had a model reach out to me for one of the local sex trafficking groups. And they're like, here, you have to sign this NDA before you can read your contract.
Ooh.
Like, I couldn't even read the contract.
Ooh, no.
I'm like, I'm not signing an NDA. No, maybe, if there was something afterwards, and I felt
we just really talked about this on our last episode about don't signing anything unless you know what it means. Legally, if a person is offering you a deal, they are supposed to give you 3 business days to read over a contract to see if there's anything you don't understand, or give it to your lawyer to look over or whatever. And so, that's
always,
bizarre.
Always, if you do not understand something in your contract, either ask somebody, give it to a lawyer.
Yes.
Like, there are so many people that will read over things.
LawTog is great, for models and photographers. I recommend LawTog tremendously to everybody. And there's even Facebook groups and things like that you can join that are put together of LawTog lawyers and stuff like that. So I highly recommend getting involved in something like that, or having a lawyer that you can send things to and they can, check. So checking people on CaseNet. Now, of course, to check somebody in CaseNet, you got to make sure you have their real name, unfortunately. Some of these photographers or some of these people are going by a photography name or stage name. So, you can ask. You can ask 100%. Don't ever be afraid to, for me, like I tell people, I have a past, yes, but if anyone were to ever ask if they could run a background check on me, I would have no issues with that, And if there is something that you find in someone's background check that alarms you, Don't be afraid to talk to them about it.
Ask
Hey,
them.
what is this about? Can you elaborate? Can you talk to me about this? Sometimes it may be a very, you will be able to tell, I think, based on what people are talking about and their reaction. And
what their charges are.
Yes, what the how severe the charges are.
Any type of dangerous charges or any type of assault charges, sexual or not, you just say no and run the other direction.
Yeah, that's exactly that was my next point, is that even if you're talking to them about these things, if it's a charge that was hindering or putting someone's safety at risk, or is something like you said, a sexual charge or harassment or assault or things like that, I wouldn't even get involved at that point. I would kind of like steer back from those types of things to be safe. All right, so the next thing on the list, all right, is don't be afraid to check tags. Okay, and that means when they're tagging different models, tagging clients, don't be afraid to message that person.
Oh, absolutely.
And ask them, hey, I got approached to work with so-and-so. I saw that he tagged you in a photo or she tagged you in a photo. How was your experience with them?
Absolutely. And if they don't have their model tagged, and it is like none of their models are tagged,
that's a red flag.
That's a huge red flag. Yes. You do not want to work with somebody who doesn't tag their models. One, that means they're afraid to associate with you.
Yep.
Two, that means they're not giving you proper credit.
Yep. And they don't take your time or your career or anything like that seriously, if that's the case. Yeah.
Three, why are you going to promote this photographer that has zero intention of promoting you? If they can't tag you, they're not promoting you. They don't care.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. 100%. If they're 100%. If they're not tagging models, there's a reason. Why aren't you tagging them? What's the deal here? Why? Yeah. So
maybe
be
they're
very
just
leery.
afraid that you're going to open your mouth and tell them how your shoot really was.
You're gonna. Yeah, that's very true. That you never know. That's very true. I say there's always a reason. I mean, you shouldn't be afraid to tag the people that you are, working with. The next one kind of leads into that too, as far as checking tags. Ask, I talk about joining local groups of like-minded people. Follow like-minded people. Follow like people that are in your industry. But don't be afraid to ask those individuals about certain people and about certain clients. In the same turn, I will say that when you start to ask about those things, sometimes you get feedback from models just because they didn't like something, or maybe the photographer told them they couldn't have the raw images and that made them so butthurt that now they talk crap about him or something. You just never know. So if it's something petty and minor and silly like that, I always say let your own experiences speak for themselves, right? Because I know that some people have had experiences with certain people and I have worked with them and it's been nothing but flawless. And so if it is something though that is a direct danger or something that is safety issue, then of course at that point, whoa, hang on, I need to maybe I don't need to work with them. But if it's just a he said, she said, and I don't like them because they blah, 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 or they
only gave me 5 images
yeah, exactly. So that kind of stuff, don't get wrapped up in that and let that stop you from working with someone. But always make sure that if it's a safety red flag, that you're taking it very seriously and that you are checking with other people. Okay, this person said this. Now I want to see what other, and if everybody starts to tell you different stories, then you see the big picture.
And I always say, if you're going and looking and you're asking for references, go for 5.
Yes.
Because then you can have 2 that are completely biased, but out of 5, 3 people are more than likely going to give you a very realistic answer. And plus, that way, if there does happen to be, if you ask 5 people, 3 of them say negative stuff, and then you've got the 2 photographers that they've worked with that nobody's ever had issues. I have people that reach out to me and they're like, oh, have you worked with XYZ? Yeah, I've worked with them. I had a great time. I had no issues.
Yep.
But at the same time, I know I need to ask other people when people are asking me, because my experience being where I am in the industry, and so many people know I will open my mouth about safety things.
Yep, 100%.
I may have a lot easier and a lot smoother shoot than somebody brand new that has never shot a day in their life.
And that goes in maybe a little bit more naive, because I think even though you you model what you model, you go into a shoot with very clear terms and with very clear expectations. Your boundaries are set up front, and so having a bold personality like that helps to make sure that shoot does go very smooth. They're like, oh, I'm not gonna cross Jade because Jade is gonna mess me up if I do. But someone who maybe is a little bit more timid, who maybe is not as established, doesn't have doesn't feel like they have the backing, confidence, and the people behind them. Yes, exactly. They may get pushed over in photo shoots a little bit more. So yeah, just ask the people around you. Ask multiple people, don't just take one person's word for it.
And there are actually a few groups here in St. Louis, Facebook chats. I happen to be admin of them. So if you guys want to be added and ask about local models, local photographers, shoot me a message. I will get you added. I am an admin for a reason, because I've kicked a lot of people for doing exactly this.
Just talking crap and non-essential stuff, like stuff that's like you're just trying to start drama stuff. That's unacceptable. Whoop, my bad. That's one thing I say you're really good at, is that it's all professional in there, and it truly is all good advice, all talking about business only stuff, not your personal opinions, your business opinions.
I mean, there might be some personal opinions in there too. We're models.
Some of that, but you kind of leave the crazy personal stuff out.
Yeah, there's no cattiness. We might share an image and everybody's like, oh my God, I love your picture.
Exactly.
And it's very, very, very positive. If there is somebody who is a negative or attacking people, like I've had models try to attack me just because they felt threatened because I was admin. Well, the other admin didn't take too well for that, and they actually removed her, and I didn't even have to do anything, and they're just like, no, that's not how we act.
No, that's not. I mean, that's just it. It's all about us, a community of lifting people up and making sure everybody is especially if you are established. That should be part of your job, is to be a mentor and be exactly.
You want to get to the point where you can say, I am an established model. Even if you are doing it as a hobby.
And being an established model means that when people talk about working with Jade, they talk about good things. There's no like, oh, I would not be very careful. She did this or she did that.
She's gonna want to be in her brawling panties.
That's about all you gotta worry about with Jade. That's it. Just keep her clothes on. No. All right. So the next one, and with that, like we said, ask for references. Okay. Background check, references, people that have worked with them personally, all that good stuff. The next tip, is a big one. Always bring an escort with you, a friend, bring someone with you to the shoots, and do not let a photographer tell you no.
Absolutely. There's
no matter who it is.
There's no reason for them to tell you no. I mean, what's the worst you're going to do? Have somebody extra to hold a light for you or hold your reflector?
Now, let me ask you this, Jade, because, of course, here later on in the segment, we're going to bring Tony on, and Tony is Jade's significant other. And, of course, if you see Jade at a shoot, Tony is not far behind her. And I love that, because he is so helpful. He is always getting behind the scenes photos of everything that we're doing, which is super cool for me to have somebody do that so that I can share them. But he is also very attentive to everything that's going on. Every now and then you'll see him come in and he'll just sit and just kind of scope out his surroundings and look around, and you'll see him just kind of mosey around, but he's always making sure that everything is secure and safe. But you guys are significant others, so tell me.
For anybody on the shoot, though.
No, I know.
You've seen it at Model Boot Camp.
And I brought him with me to shoots as protection, and that's why I'm going to bring him on as a guest. We're going to talk to him about just some different safety precautions. But tell me how people have, especially the type of modeling that you do. Okay, I know some photographers have an issue bringing boyfriends on the set. What is your response, and how do you combat when someone has that issue with you bringing Tony?
So their first question is always, is he going to interfere with the shoot? No.
Yeah.
He's not going to interfere. The most he's going to interfere is, hey, babe, come here. You got to tag out.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
But, he doesn't interfere. So when they ask me, they're like, anymore, honestly, I don't even tell anybody I'm bringing an escort.
Yeah. You just show up with it.
I just show up with
and
an
that
escort.
shouldn't be a problem. Yeah,
And
exactly.
it should never be a problem because if you're doing a shoot, no matter what you are wearing, whether it be, you're in this big, huge ball gown or you're in this tiny little nothing.
Yep.
You should have the right to feel comfortable, period.
Yes.
9 times out of 10, you do not know the photographer.
Yes, absolutely.
This will be the first time you're ever meeting them. You're ever talking to them in person.
Even if they do have a squeaky clean background check.
Yes.
Still, you want to bring somebody.
Even Brandy's first shoot with her, I brought my man.
Yep, she did. She 100% did. Yes.
Granted, at the beginning, I let you know, hey, my man's coming with me. And the first thing you said is, I don't care as long as he's not going to interfere and let us work.
Yep. Yep, absolutely. Yep. I said he's not going to have any issues with what we're shooting. Nope, absolutely not. And I think that's maybe some photographers' problem is they think, which I always say, if you're not going to be doing anything inappropriate, then why would you care what the boyfriend thinks?
Well, but my thing is there are boyfriends and there are models that will do boudoir or nude shoots and their man has no idea.
Or they don't approve, or they don't like it, or there's no communication about.
Or they had communicated, and he's like, no, I'm actually really not comfortable with other people. And normally that is where these boyfriend conflicts come from because now they're like, oh, this guy's taking pictures of my girlfriend naked.
Yep, and they start a rumor about, it's
and then they
damaging
get the wrong
to their career.
idea in their head. But now your man's gone irate on this photographer. Nobody's going to want to work with you.
No.
And if they do, they're going to tell you you're not allowed to bring him.
Yep, that's very true.
That's the thing about Tony. He is vetted now. He is vetted just as much as I am vetted as a model. You could reach out to any photographer I have worked with. And they'll be like, "Oh yeah, Tony's great.
Oh, yeah, bring him. He's fine. Yeah, because they know. Yeah, and I think for me, I have a sense of security because you're right. He is looking out for everybody. It's not just Jade. I mean, yes, obviously Jade. If he had to take a bullet for me or Jade, he's probably gonna pick Jade. But I do know that if he had to take a bullet for me, I think he would. So I like to hope and think that he would try to protect me. So okay, so the next one we lead into, of course, talking about going to shoots for the first time with a photographer. Never, ever, 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 ever your first shoot with a photographer, shoot nude or boudoir. And I know some of you photographers out there are going to jump on my case and be like, but we're safe. I get it. Okay. It's really, truly just about comfort and creating a relationship. Yes. Creating a friendship, a relationship, a bond, a level of trust.
Absolutely.
I think more than anything. And also you're getting a sense for how are they editing your body?
Well, and not only that, you could even start, if you have a 2-hour block set with somebody, you could do the first hour and a half fully clothed or in some
see how outfit. You feel when you
and then if you're like, hey, I want to do this, I have this really cute outfit, will you take a couple shots for me? Yeah, I mean, by all means, go for it. I'm not saying absolutely do not, but you need to not set it up to where you are guaranteeing yourself that you have to be in that type of situation.
Yep, exactly.
Especially if you happen to be there without an escort because it's just not a safe place.
Nope, not at all. And what happens when, for me, especially if, let's say this is new to you, you're newly modeling boudoir, you're newly, all this kind of stuff, you may get there and clam up.
Yeah.
And so you have promised this photographer, they've rented studio, they've put, all these things, and then you get there and you're like, I can't do this. I thought I could, but I can't. And then everybody's time is wasted. So you just want to make sure that what you're doing, you're comfortable in doing. And so, always build that relationship before you just jump right into exposing your entire world to them. You just want to make sure that you're going to be safe in their hands. That is your body. And I hate the whole your body is a temple crap, but your body is a temple essentially, and it is yours. And so it's your job to protect it. And not everybody wants to protect it like you want to protect your body, you
just
know?
want it
And
covered
so
in graffiti.
I know that's Jade is like, just cover me head to toe in tattoos and I'm good. Okay, so we are right into about the middle of our list. I'm going to go one more safety tip and we're going to take a short break and be back. The next one is important and we've touched on this a little bit. Always have a contract and always make sure that you understand that contract. Never, I repeat, never go into an agreement without a contract. TFP, paid shoots, whatever, you should always have some sort of contract on file with that person.
Absolutely. I have a contract on file with you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, that everybody is good at promising the world. Everybody is good at saying anything. But you want to make sure that
they're going to follow through.
Yeah. And if you ever get to a point where they're not following through, you can say, look, this is what you promised me. And they can't be like, no, I didn't.
Absolutely.
No, I didn't say that. What are you talking about? You're crazy. We had this boss, my husband had this boss years ago, and this man drove me nuts because he would come in and be like, I want this done and this done and da-da-da-da, and if it gets done, then everybody gets a bonus. Okay, so we would tell everybody that. And then we would do it, and we would achieve whatever goal it was, and he'd be like, bonus. I didn't say that. What are you talking about? Well, then I look like an idiot because now I've told everybody that they're going to get this bonus that now I have to go tell them that they're not going to get. So, you just never know, no matter how trusted or, worthy someone is of their word, you just want to make sure you have a contract with them to protect yourself.
Well, and you want to make sure they're not doing things with your images that you have not given them permission to.
Yes,
so there's so many different websites that you could be sending stuff to. Mm-hmm. And they could even be submitting your images to whether it be websites or magazines or wherever it be.
Without your knowledge
without you knowing.
Yes. And without you approving the photo, without,
them getting paid all kinds of money for your image and not, you have zero idea of if you're going to get paid for it.
Yep, exactly. And unfortunately, without a contract,
photographers can use it.
He shouldn't use it, but without a contract, he can. Unfortunately. And you're going to have to jump through hoops and bounds and leaps just to get whatever is going on, either to get your royalties or your credit or to get it taken down or whatever your end result is. Now you're going to have to go through a huge legal process to get that done, because at the end of the day, if you get it done, because they own the copyrights to it. And so if you're not signing a contract, then that photographer can do whatever. They own everything and they can do what they want to with their pictures. Now, yes, obviously if they're doing immoral things, I'm hoping that a judge would say, take it down. But you're still going to have to get to that process, which means that stays up until you get to that process to make them do it. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break, and then of course we're going to go through the rest of our safety tips with Jade, and we're going to bring Tony on, and we're going to talk about, of course, about actual physical safety. We're going to do some self-defense stuff with Tony, so you guys don't want to miss it. Make sure you check out all the other great shows on Artists United Network, and of course some of our sponsors, and we'll be right back. Hey guys, welcome back. Of course, happy Monday. We are Model Mania. And of course, if you don't know what Model Mania is, this is the show where we just dig in and give you all we got, all right? All of our tips and tricks and advice and information. Today's episode, we're really focusing on safety. Safety, I think, is at the forefront of everybody's attention span right now, and it should be what everybody is focusing on, making sure that they are doing. Okay, I mean, safety sometimes sounds cliche, all right? I'm like your mom and telling you to be safe.
It's important,
but it's so important, right? Gosh, it's so important. And we all like to think that we can work our way through any situation, but sometimes that's just not the case, okay? And so you want to make sure that you are taking several different precautions. So today, basically what we've been doing, guys, is breaking down different safety tips. Okay, so these are Jade's safety tips that she has for models who are starting to get out in the world and start to work with different photographers and different clients. So moving right along with our list, the next item is to check your location.
Absolutely.
So talk to people about checking your location.
So you want to know whether you're shooting at somebody's house. There are a lot of photographers locally who have in-home studios, which I'm not saying anything bad about that. There are a lot of people that I work with that have amazing in-home studios.
I agree. We literally just talked about this recently on an episode, and I have nothing against home studios. I would just recommend maybe
shoot with them first?
Somewhere else. Yeah, somewhere else other than their home. Have them, either you guys go in halves on our studio rental, or you shoot somewhere publicly outside if it's nice or whatever. That would be my recommendation. And people who have home studios probably hate me right now because I say that, but you have to understand if that's your home and you literally, that's your home. So you're in there privately by yourself at all hours of the day or night, which means that you could be doing anything or setting up anything within that home.
I know there's photographers locally who have cameras in their house, whether
in their dressing rooms and things like that.
Even if it's just for security reasons. Yeah. But I can say any photographer that I've ever worked at their in-home studio, before I worked at their in-home studio, I worked with them, whether it be on Del Mar Strip.
Exactly.
Somewhere super public. So I was able to get to know them as a person.
Yes.
And these photographers are normally the ones that are like, hey, let's go eat dinner first.
Yes. Let's meet, have a have a consult dinner.
Let's go to a date.
Yes.
Normally it's me and my hubby, and they're like, hey, let's go out to dinner, and then we'll go back to this. Okay, let's do that.
Yes.
I feel
come
more
take a tour afterwards, or come look at it, or So there's still steps to making sure that you're safe if you do.
And you want to make sure, what if they say, hey, I want to do this outdoor shoot, and all of a sudden you're on east side of St. Louis, downtown, in some really rough area, and you have no idea because you've never seen the address before.
Exactly.
And you show up there, and all of a sudden you're at this homeless building where all the homeless people shoot, and you're in this really nice fancy dress, and it's just
maybe expensive jewelry, maybe in a fancy car,
and
maybe,
it ends up being a very risky situation. We all know here we've lost photographers that have been unfortunately taken way too early over their
camera equipment, their freaking camera equipment. It's stupid. It's
so stupid. It's not worth it. You need to know where you're at just for your own personal safety. You need to know if these are extra steps you need to take to,
I would say,
yourself.
Would you go as far as maybe recommending if someone has never been to, let's say we're going to meet here and it's an outdoor, it's a public place, blah, blah, blah. Would you recommend even scouting it, going and looking yourself before? I would too. Yeah,
absolutely.
For sure.
Because even if I don't go personally, I will be like, yo, Tony, can you drive by here? Or do you know where this is? And I can't tell you how many times that he's been like, no, we're not shooting in this spot.
Absolutely not. Yes.
It is a very dangerous area.
Yeah, that's my husband. I don't know St. Louis. Okay. And I know there's lots of people, even if you've only lived here I've lived here almost friggin' 7 years now. And there are areas where I'm like, oh, I don't know. I have no idea. But my husband's like, what?
You went there?
So yeah. And I will always call him and be like, hey, have you ever been here? Because you don't want to take your stuff into an area where you have the feeling that you're going to get robbed, or
Absolutely.
or that people are going to, you know, try to solicit you for sex or
whatever it be. You just don't want to be in that situation.
Just different areas, different
and that
things,
goes into the next topic I wanted to bring up, is make sure somebody always knows where you are.
No matter what. Even if you take somebody with you, make sure somebody else
because what happens if they decide to off you and
your friend
buddy, and now all of a sudden you got 2 dead people laying here and nobody else any idea.
Yes.
I always recommend, like, I do it with my best friend. If I go to a shoot, I send her for an hour or more, depending on the shoot, my Facebook location. You can hit share location, and if my phone moves, she will know it.
Yeah, for sure. It'll be, that's one thing that I recommended in another episode, is just pinging or sharing your location with somebody. If you have a good enough relationship with someone, a friend, be like, hey, this is what I'm going to do every time I go. They'll know. You're sharing your stuff. They'll be like, all right, Jade's at a shoot. I know where she's at. And make sure that person knows, okay, what happens if this happens, or what happens if I, no longer responding, and then they know then what to do, or the steps to take to, try to find you, or try to help you, or try to,
they should
whatever.
know your start and end time.
Yes.
Because obviously if you're at a shoot, if it's a 2-hour shoot, you may not have the chance. I know I don't. I normally don't touch my phone my entire shoot. No. But they need to understand, okay, within 20 minutes of my end time, I need to be contacting you. Yes. Whether it be,
even if you're going over that end time, still be like, hey, I need to stop and let so-and-so know I'm okay. Give me a second.
Even if it's a simple thumbs up on the message, it's, hey, I'm here. I'm still communicating because my phone locks. Yes. Unless you have my face and I am awake, because I have the extra
eyes. The eye thing,
and unless they know that, and they would obviously know to message her specifically.
Yes. They don't know that's what you're doing.
My safety protocol kicks in.
Yep, exactly. And you always need to have a plan, okay? Always have a plan. I would say even with the person that you're bringing to a photo shoot, always have an exit strategy, okay? Always have maybe some safe words, or some keywords with that person, where if you're starting to get to a point where your boundaries are crossed, or you're feeling some type of way, or you're picking up on some things that seem very unsafe, make sure that you and the person that are with you have a clear path of communication to know, okay, it's time to put in forth the plan of action, right? To get us the F out of here.
And you can do things as simple as, hey, what time is dinner? What is for dinner? And they can even ask you these questions to be able to say, and then you have an opening to be able to have some sort of safe word without it being like, yo, pineapple.
And them knowing, picking up on you. What time's dinner? Yep.
Hey,
exactly.
Maybe it's time we need to start wrapping up.
Yep. And don't be afraid to fake a phone call every now and then. Emergency phone call.
Have a friend that you can message SOS.
Yes, the old date trick, get an emergency phone call. And it does work. Yes, because no one's going to ever question if you say that your grandma just got taken to the hospital. Nobody's ever going to question that.
Never.
Okay, so moving right along, make sure that you have a clear guide, or clear breakdown of exactly what your shoot is going to be and entail. So tell people about that, Jade.
So I do a lot of boudoir and nude. Well, I've said earlier, make sure your first shoot, or at least the beginning of that shoot, is clothed. So if I'm setting up a shoot with a brand new photographer, I actually will break down to what outfits I'm bringing, what they plan to be shooting me in. That way, one, I have everything that I need to have. And two, if I have this set up where here we're shooting in this outfit 1, 2, and 3, and they try to be like, yo, here's this outfit, or yo, let's take this off and scrap that, let's do nude. No, that is not what was planned. And you have more power to say no, because it wasn't
in your plan. Yes, it wasn't in your plan.
If you just say, yo, I'm down for whatever, or I don't care, whatever you'd like to shoot.
No, don't ever say that.
That is where you get in trouble.
Don't say that. Don't ever say that.
Yeah, because they're going to take advantage of you. They're going to be like, oh, you want to shoot whatever?
Yeah.
And I know you're comfortable with, nude or boudoir. every time, hands down, that is what they're going to ask for.
Yes, absolutely.
So
don't be afraid to say no.
Yeah, say no, please.
Yes, don't be afraid to say no. Not at all. And it also helps for me as a photographer. I want to know what the models are bringing too, because I want to know kind of my workflow for that shoot, right? I want to know, okay, if I'm going to be using different areas within my studio, I want to make sure I'm blocking those areas off to use, but B, I want to also have a plan. Okay, this is how we're going to flow through the photo shoot, and it just makes your day. Yeah, you visualize it, you can get ideas, you can be prepared with posing and props and all that prior. So it just helps everybody if there is a clear expectation and guide of what the shoot is going to entail. All right, the last safety tip, and I think this is the most important. Never, and I repeat, never. Let me say it louder for the people in the back. Never ride with a photographer. Never. I don't care if it's a female or a male. Never get into the car and ride to a shoot with the photographer, because what you now have done is you now have trapped yourself. Doesn't matter if, let's say you do get an emergency phone call while you're out there.
Now you have no way to leave.
Now you have no way to get out. Let's say they get you out there and gosh knows what's going to happen. Just never ride with the photographer.
What if you get in their car and you don't get back out?
Nope.
You don't know where.
Nope.
Once you get into a car with a photographer, you don't know where they're going to take you, if they're going to take you anywhere.
Yep.
You don't know if their location is correct or not. You don't know if, there's so many things you don't know, because you are giving over so much control.
Yes.
Like, that is something I will always preach. You need to be in control of your photo shoots. And that means in control of where you are going.
100%. And how to get out.
Yes.
Of that place.
Yes.
Yeah, because if you don't have a ride, you can Uber. Okay, everybody can Uber.
But Uber's going to take 25, 30 minutes to get there.
Exactly.
Who wants to wait
and what if you are like some people may not use Uber because they don't have a credit or debit card, or they don't have the Uber. Like, some people have never Ubered in their life, so you just you just never know, and so you always want to make sure you have an exit strategy and a transportation strategy at the end. Yeah. So don't ride with a photographer. Don't ride with the client. Make sure that you have your own way to get there. Even if that's riding the city bus, ride the city bus. Don't ride with a photographer.
Oh, yeah. At least you can decide to get back on that city bus.
Yes, very true. Yes. All right. So we're going to take a short break and come back with Tony. Tony's going to be our guest. We're just going to go over some safety precautions with him as well, because Tony has a great background, and we'll talk to you guys all about that. And then he's going to show us a couple of self-defense tricks. So, ladies, if anybody ever tries anything with you, you've been practicing martial arts in the back of the Walmart, and you can kick somebody's butt. So that's what we'll do when we come back, guys. Of course, check out Artists United Network shows and some of our sponsors, and please come back and make sure that you watch our next segment here. Hey, welcome back. Of course, this is another episode of Model Mania. We are going to finish off our episode today in a very unique way. Of course, today's episode has been all about safety, okay? As a model, safety is very important. You should be making sure that at every turn, at every corner, at every photo shoot, that you are able to defend yourself, that you are able to be smart and have intellect and intuition as far as getting yourself out of sticky situations. And so, of course, talking safety, I talked to you a little bit about Jade, but now we're going to talk to Jade's significant other. All right, Tony. Welcome, Tony. Thank you for joining me. I am very intrigued by the dynamic that you and Jade have as far as photo shoots, and it's been like that since I met you guys, I tell everybody, I'm like, if Jade's at a photo shoot, Tony's not far behind. So he's always there. So tell me a little bit about your background as far as when we talk about self-defense and teaching us those types of things, and your background in the enforcement and stuff like that.
Well, before taking on my current look, I was a very clean-cut police officer for 25 years. Mm-hmm. So like I said, most of my background is been in patrol and criminal investigations, narcotics, gang investigations, but later I got into training. So now I do corporate training, and we own a company on the side that also does training. Okay. And we a lot of times specialize in things that are precautionary, but also in reaction. So a lot of our corporate entities that have hired us have done things evolving around after shooter situations. But at one point I was serving with the University Police Department. One of our most successful programs that we did was a program we presented called Rape Aggression Defense, RAD. And in the St. Louis area, I know that there's a couple of universities that teach that on the campuses. So I always tell people who are going to college, if they're in that college age bracket, to look and see if their local college doesn't have that as an offering.
Interesting.
Sometimes it's 4 credits. Sometimes it's just an offshoot.
And what does that entail? What are they teaching when they go through? I mean, obviously, I don't want you to break down the whole course, but what is the goal, and what are they trying to do with that course?
Well, the RAD class pretty much kind of centers on some things we're talking about tonight. Is pre-planning. A lot of times it's a mindset as well. So when a model is going into a new situation, it's thinking about threat assessments, thinking about things that can happen, and preparing for those. I know that y'all probably going to plan on talking about that at some point. And after that, you do come up to the chance that there's a physical altercation with someone. Yes. And we address the differences in size. A lot of training classes you go to, a lot of martial arts, they teach you to stay in a conflict scenario. We're not teaching people to try and knock someone out. This isn't an MMA fight. It's not a boxing match. You have to strike and move, strike and get out.
It's about how to get away.
Exactly.
More
so
importantly.
a lot of the things that we teach are straight strikes, straight, one time and out, because you're trying to get them to release you so you can gain some distance away from that person. Just like some of the scenarios where we talk about where you're trying to be dragged. Someone's trying to drag you to a location, ways to slow them down, to maybe get some help there, or someone can hear you and respond. But again, as much as we always want to make sure we talk about the physical aspects of it, again, it's really important to remember the front side of it.
The pre-planning part.
Checking people out, having people go with you.
Yes.
Having people know where you're going. Never getting in a car with another photographer.
Yes. Jade had a great list of safety tips, and all of those were on it. And I think that is important, is making sure that you're doing everything that you can first before you possibly get into that situation. Now, I have a question, okay? I told my husband last night, I said, because I was talking about you coming on the show and what I was going to have you do. And I said, you know what I would do? If I was in a situation I wanted to get out, and if it was a man, I would kick him in the gonads, and then when he bent over, I would hit his knee nose right on my knee. Is that a good thing to do?
That's one of the first things that we teach is, especially again, going back to the that one strike may all you have. So a lot of our strikes are, going after someone's nose or their eyes or, into the groin area.
It's going to hinder them, or affect their vision,
quick release. And then, like you said, if you have ability, again, we're not in a boxing match, so you're not going to generate, in most cases, the power to knock someone out just punching. This isn't a movie. So you have to use a more hard contact, like a knee. And a lot of times females are really good and flexible, so they can generate that force. But again, once someone's stunned, we teach to disengage.
Go away,
So, and again, that it's very important you tie those together, because just like when we talk about, Google mapping somewhere first, Google imagery. If someone's been to that location before, ask them about the layout. because there's a lot of studios these days, and a lot of different people use different studios.
Yes.
So
Yes,
you
yes.
know where the exits are, know when you walked in, where you walked around the hallway.
Yes.
Be prepared, because again, whenever you strike someone and that physical altercation has begun, you have to get out of that area.
Yes.
You're going to be unfamiliar, and if you're not trained to handle adrenaline dumps,
Yes.
that fight or flight scenario,
No fun.
you have to already be thinking about it, because that's going to affect your hearing, it affects your eyesight,
Yep.
your circulation. A burst of adrenaline is great when you've been trained to use it.
Yes.
So that's why that aspect of
But it's dangerous if
mentality
you-
has to be there, and has to be prepared for
I
that.
agree. Yeah, I totally agree. My, my husband, of course, has a military background, and so I say to people how calm he is in a high stress, or for me, a situation that's like I'm over chaotic or over panicked about. The amount of calm that comes over him is almost scary to me.
Right,
but that's what he's been
training.
trained to do. Yeah, and it's even though this man has been out of the military for X amount of years, I mean, you can tell. For instance, a couple weeks ago, we rolled up on a car that had literally, this kid had just rolled his car and it was upside down. We pulled up as he's crawling out, and of course, I went into panic mode, thinking, "Oh my gosh, we're about to roll up to something that's not good." And I'm telling him, "JT, you have to check on him. You got to make sure he's okay." And he's like, "I got it. It's okay. Calm down." And he just instant went into that soldier mode is what I call
mentality
it.
is, like I said, he's trained himself for that response. And
it's scary.
So whenever we talk about instances like me and Jade in the past, where two really good examples of just how people will come across in messaging, because a lot of times if a young model's just getting into it, social media is going to open you up to everybody and anybody.
Yes.
That either actually does studio work, or they've got a camera and they're just out there. Some of them are out there really trying to begin.
Yeah.
Other ones are trying to use that for a way
yes,
in.
yes, exactly. Yes.
So, be wary of that. But we've had conversations where she was talking to a gentleman one night about wanting to do a shoot. And it came up to the point where she talks about that I'd be coming with her. And the gentleman mentioned, well, I don't know if the photographer is going to be okay with that, because he likes just to work with the people on the set. So we were immediately like, no.
Nope.
Like if you're a photographer, you should be comfortable and ready
100%.
to accept that.
Yes, and understanding of why.
Oh, and in today's world, for you to not feel comfortable with that, for you not to want your model to feel comfortable with that, that's a red flag.
Then what are you doing? What are you trying to do? Yeah,
So
what's sketchy about you?
In the same way, within a span of a few hours one night, another gentleman's wanting to do a photo shoot with her, and within a couple of hours, she doesn't respond back, and he became very hostile. There's a red flag immediately. Yeah. And we talk about running people on CaseNet. That's a public access that you can get to.
Yes.
A lot of information on there. Find out he's got multiple orders of protection from people who he had shot with before. So
Surprise,
use those resources.
Yes, 100%. And I even said it's I mean, I think if you're really truly modeling, it's maybe even a wise investment to like pay for some of those sites that do full background checks, so that, because I know you can pull stuff up on CaseNet, but sometimes
you can always dive deeper. And I
Yes.
think really in the St. Louis area, there's such a good network between photographers, and so you'll know. And don't get me wrong, you may have somebody that's got 98 people that love them, and 2 people have something against them.
Yes, exactly.
So
yes.
judge it; it'll wash out.
Yes,
you'll find the majority.
That's what I
of them.
say. I don't take the he said she said stuff. Like if it's something that's going to affect your safety, or if that's a safety red flag, but the drama stuff.
And a lot of
that's
models will
the
say,
side.
"Hey, they're a great photographer," or they were great at this or whatever, but this made me feel uncomfortable.
Yep.
And sometimes it's just some people interact differently, and they'll feel comfortable, or just that gut feeling. And if you don't like working with someone, if you feel uncomfortable with somebody, that's fine, and trust that feeling.
Yes.
I tell people all the time that it's one thing to be nervous going to a shoot. I'm sure it took Jade a while before she was comfortable going to every shoot. You have to get used to your photographers and the ones you like.
Yes.
So, for her, it was understanding the difference in just being nervous and getting there and being like, I feel very uncomfortable. Something's wrong.
Yeah. Something's off. Something's wrong. Yeah. Trusting your own intuition and your own, for sure.
And work on that, because, if you have one bad photo shoot, if you get in a situation where someone becomes physically assaultive or sexually abusive or makes that type of innuendo, that's not going to ruin your model career.
No.
Staying there and getting hurt is going to ruin your mental health.
Gosh, I'm so glad you said that. Yes, because your mental health is going to ruin your modeling. You know, having issues with that will eventually, or could potentially hinder your modeling career, or put you in a place where it triggers those things and you no longer want to model, or it just could do so much damage.
Every time you're going into a shoot or you're trying to meet a new photographer, that's going to be a trigger for you.
Yeah, so, for sure.
You don't want something that you love to end up being something that's hindering your growth and as a person.
Agree. Okay, so let's run down your tips. Okay, I heard you say when you, of course, you want to scout a location, check a location, things like that. Sometimes maybe you can't always get into a building prior to a photo shoot. So when you're walking into a room, what's the first thing that they should probably be doing and looking for when they're walking to a room?
First thing I would ask somebody coming to a building I've never been in before is the exits in and out of the building.
Okay.
I'd also ask if there is audio and visual surveillance.
Security, okay, very good. Okay, yep.
Especially if it's a third party that's using that building. We know that that's happened in St. Louis, where it's come back to where an owner of a studio has seen something on camera.
Yep.
And that's liability to them. But you want to know if that's possible, if that's available. Again, making sure that you know in and out.
Yep.
Be careful of them locking doors behind you. A lot of times it's like, hey, I'm locked this door because I don't want anybody coming in. But at the same time, is it a lock that you can open? Or is it a key that they use to lock it? Because if they've got the key, you're not going to be able to get out that doorway. So be very smart of your
surroundings,
way in and out of that building.
Yes, that's so smart. And I think that happens so much on set. I love that that's what you're saying, because so many times you get on set and you get excited, models get excited, and they're just wrapped up in the clothes and the this and the fancy lights, that they're not paying attention to those types of things. Like, what is he doing behind me, or did he just lock a door behind me, or just different things like that. So I love that you're. Because, I mean, just thinking about it myself, I'm thinking to myself, man, how many times have I walked into a building and I couldn't have told you how to get back to the front door? Like,
especially in a lot of these studios, you have multiple settings. So you're in the hallway, out through another door.
Yes.
So it's not where you just walk into. It's just a big open room sometimes. But same way, did you go up into an elevator? Did the elevator have to be called? Was it one that's programmed to have a key for it?
Yep.
Stairways, is there a secondary stairwell? That's all stuff that you have to be thinking about. Because especially if you don't have someone with you, and I'll tell you now, you need to always have somebody go with you.
Yes, don't go alone.
And I'll tell you now, the first red flag that we have is if a photographer says, we're not comfortable having someone come with you, or we have our own security, that ends the entire conversation.
Nope. Absolutely not.
So that's, to me, if you don't have that secondary source of somebody available for backup or to be there with you, that's a risk that I wouldn't be willing to take.
No, I agree. I totally agree. And that is probably my biggest safety tip to models is don't go alone. Just don't do it. No matter if you are a female or a male, just don't go alone. It's not safe for either, to do that.
A lot of people are like, well, I won't be able to get a shoot with him unless I do it on this date. Well, then they need to work with you. Yep. Or maybe that's just not photography you should be shooting with.
Maybe it just unfortunately won't work out at this time, or you have to do it next time, or roll it.
If it's that important, they can reschedule. They'll work it.
100%. And I say that if they want to work with you, they will be willing to work around whatever the obstacle is. Yeah, agree, totally agree. Okay, we're gonna take a short break. We're gonna move our chairs out, and then we're gonna let Tony beat up a little bit on us, and we're gonna bring Keenan in and Jade, of course, and we're just gonna talk about some different self-defense maneuvers and maybe some things that women, because oftentimes we talk about size difference, men are bigger than women, some things like that. So we're just gonna learn maybe things that we can do if you are even a tiny little lady that will allow you to get out of a situation and get yourself to safety very quick. Okay, so you guys check out our other shows on the network, and of course all of our great sponsors, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Model Mania. Today's episode is a very informative one. If you guys have missed the beginning of the episode, make sure that you go back and watch. We have dished out all of our safety tips to you, and then of course we brought on someone who has some training and specialty in these types of situations, and that is Mr. Tony. Thank you so much for coming on. This is the fun part, guys. All right, Tony's going to teach us just some different self-defense mechanisms that we can use in situations, especially when you're talking about size difference for females and men. Okay, so we're going to bring in Keenan. We're going to bring in, do you want to bring in Jade for one of them too? Or do you want to, okay, all right. So bring in Jade as well, and go ahead. What is the first one? Not the floor one. I know we're talking other things. So let's do the other ones first.
First thing is we kind of start into it. Always think about this is we're looking at just a couple of areas to worry about hitting.
Okay.
Again, we don't worry about females, especially trying to knock someone out.
Okay.
So in this situation, we want to try and get into like the throat or into the eyes. So whether you push with your thumb or hit with your fingers, anything like that, scratch, because we're not worried about getting the
because as a little bitty, you're not going to do any damage. You're just like hitting the punching bag.
So you have to try and get something that's soft tissue that's going to make them stop a second or flinch a second.
Okay.
So even if they grab you, a lot of times people will get grabbed from around like this and try to get pulled off.
Okay.
You still have this ability here.
So
even if I'm down like this, if he wraps around, a lot of times if you do this, you're not going to be able to push this out.
Right.
Slide down.
Oh.
And out of it. Because he's going to be able to hold so much and so tight, I'll just drop down of it. And again, when I do that, he's got me this way even from here. Or if I turn this way, from here. Now here, I still can step out to one side, because remember, in most cases, you're shorter.
Yeah, yes.
If I step out and drop down, now pull his weight over a little bit. He's off centered. And it lines up.
Oh, lines you up right with the gonads. Okay.
So I can hit here.
Right in the gonads.
And you hit there with the elbow.
Yep.
And as that, you follow through from here. Again, all you want to do is get that immediately break.
Because he's going to go.
And he goes down. I can pull myself out then from his arms.
Yeah.
Again, pulling his weight down if I have to. The main goal, again, not to knock him out. We're not trying to win a boxing match. Quick strikes, throw their weight off, get them off balance, and then move out of that area.
Okay, very cool. Okay, so let's try it, Jade. I'm going to let you, like he was going to pick you up and carry you off and show me what you would do if that happened. Pick her up like you're going to carry her and steal her. Ready? Go. Good. Okay, that was perfect. So essentially, you're trying to throw them off from what they're doing. So
again,
that was
like
good.
I said, if you turn around and do it this way, now there's two things. One, he can grab her hands are free.
Yep.
Still the same process.
I
She
can go
steal.
right here.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Try and grab it. If not, if she still wants to, she can throw her hands straight up in the air and slide straight down.
Oh.
So, again, you just want to get out of that. From that point, then she can still grab the legs.
Yep.
Still make a strike on the groin, but you're just trying to break out of that. Again, you'll watch people. A lot of times they're just pounding on the shoulders, trying to hurt. Slapping on the face isn't going to do that. You have to actually break that somehow, but you're not going to be able to power out of it.
No.
Even if he grabs her front ways like this, still she's not going to be able to power out. She's just going to have to slip out of it.
Slide out of it, yeah. Use your size to your advantage in a way. Yeah, okay, very cool. All right, so what are we going to show her next? What's the next tip?
Well, one thing I always want to remember, and especially for people being grabbed, a lot of people always remember if you're pulling, you're not trying to pull in a tug of war. In this example, you always want to try and work this weak point of the fingers. The only problem with this is a lot of people will teach this in basic self-defense classes of all kind. It's always going to depend on how much of a reach that person has around the wrist.
Okay.
So if she can twist, she's wanting to pull to where that's the weak link. But always be careful too, because for example, if someone's 6 foot or higher and you're 5'2", my ability to wrap around her wrist is going to be greater.
Yeah.
But that's always the pull from this being the weakest point in that grip to try and pull out of it.
Gotcha.
So something simple. And while you're doing that, if you have a free hand, because a lot of times you'll see this, where we're just in this power play.
Yep.
Hand over here, use this hand to strike through here to these nerves.
Oh, okay. Because when you're hitting that, you're instantly bending them down.
You've got an entire work of the nerves through here. Especially right through here, that just is the start.
So would you even suggest maybe that people would learn pressure points then? Yep. Like learn where to hit somebody to make them do those motions.
So in law enforcement, we used to use pressure points, or PPCT, as we call them. So you got the bridge of the nose here. You also got the mandibular angle. You had the little piece right here.
Yeah,
and
okay.
notch here, and you also have one out here. Same way with your side of your thighs, this radial nerve here. Those are great soft points to go after. So if you look up PPCT pressure points, you'll see the
say it again.
PPCT.
PPCT pressure points.
That's
Okay.
the pressure point control tactics and techniques, and like I said, that'll be where you can check for the best place is the knee on the outside. Again, right through here where that nerve grouping is. Easy little things like that. Again, we have to find places that are going to distract or cause immediate pain. Again, not trying to knock anyone out.
Right.
To get that release factor.
Yes, and then get out of the situation. So the idea, guys, is not to stay and fight. All right, we all want to see if we can kick somebody's ass, but that's not the solution here. We want to strike and get out. Okay,
so
all
again,
right.
if he does it from behind, just kind of follow up again from the behind us here. She doesn't have a chance to do anything where she can break out of it. Her biggest thing is wanting to go elbow and straight into the clutch, and then immediately.
No. So essentially, if you guys saw, what she did was elbowed him in the gut. So from this side, it was here, and then you're in perfect motion to just straight down to the gonads. Okay.
And like I said, at that point, if he releases a grip just a little bit, she can then slide out from there.
Yeah.
And again, she's got that ability to delay this, because again, a lot of times in these situations, you're trying to, if you can't get away, either make it as impossible as you can practically make it, or get it to where you're delaying time until somebody else hears what's going on and gets into help.
And in that whole process, are you also suggesting that this person, the victim, is screaming and yelling and making as much noise as humanly possible?
And that's why too, like whenever we talk about going into a studio situation, into like some type of a commercial building, find out there's other people in there. There's a studio next door that's being ran, or is there a business downstairs. And that's, again, that people can hear you, but people also have to understand this. 2022, there's building codes in place. So a lot of times people will hear people screaming. You can't do anything. And sometimes they either don't hear it, or they can hear it, they think it's kids playing.
Yes.
So that's just like whenever we tell people they walk through the parking lot. If someone grabs you, yell fire, or yell something, don't just scream, because a lot of times people just think this one's playing.
Perfect example. Okay, so we were about a week and a half ago, we were on location filming, and there's an empty lot across the street from where we were filming at, and then all of a sudden we see, it's dark, we see a van, a very old van, looked like a Candyman van, okay, like a creeper, like stealing people van, but he's driving around in circles, and then all of a sudden we hear people screaming, we see people running, and I was like, oh my gosh, he's trying to abduct these people, and we called 911, and of course the cops came, and it was a whole big ordeal, and we see him let these people go, and whatever. My husband knew the officers, so he went and talked to them, and they were like, oh, just some dumb kids doing a TikTok video. Oh my gosh! I mean, it literally looked like they were abducting someone,
and people are so used to people playing and being loud,
doing that they just don't even
loud scream like that.
Yes.
You have to say something else that's going to get them involved. And that's why, again, if you're inside somewhere, be mindful.
Yeah.
If you think someone else can hear you in there, but being important about the pre-planning, because if something's delayed and now somebody's supposed to call and check on you, at least they know that they're not hearing from you. That's time to come to that location.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So we were talking about that. Even within 20 minutes of that quit time, that you should be hearing from me, or at least getting a thumbs up from me that I'm okay or not okay. Something. All right. So we have one more that we're going to show, I think, and it involves being down on the ground. Is that okay? All right, perfect.
So, we'll kind of start off in this position. Okay. So a lot of people now, you'll see in the shows, or a lot of scenarios where we see people that are being dragged. And again, this situation, a lot of times, our person that's being victimized is trying to pull. Again, you could be dealing with someone who's got a lot greater, hand strength than what you're pulling against weight.
We've all played tug of war in school. If you're the little guy, you lose. You
so if he grabs both hands up here, almost going to be impossible. Go ahead, grab her. Then almost impossible. So again, a lot of people will leave this hand over here. They're not going to strike. They're going to be back. If nothing else, if you're worried, you don't think that you're comfortable striking, you just don't really know what you're doing, At this point, she can just drop to the ground. One, it pulls him down in most cases. So if he's trying, again, because he's much taller.
He may lose his balance and fall when she does that, yeah.
It's hard for him to hold 115 pounds that's dropped
yes.
immediately.
And they're dead weight now. Yeah.
And when you drop, you drop with everything.
Yes.
And keep pulling, because that pulls him down. Now, he doesn't want to have all of this up here. If he's trying to get her out of this building or into another location, this is time that's preventing that from happening.
Yep. Exactly.
Even if he doesn't gain full control or doesn't fall over, I should say, go ahead and drop down. And he stays up. At this point, he's going to go and get his footing. She can still move into him with a strike or scooch all the way into him where she can wrap up his leg with her legs.
Oh, okay, yep.
Because now he's trying to pull her up. Kent still has at least one leg locked in place. Again, this is a situation where we're trying to make sure someone's preventing it from being moved.
So it's almost like when you were 2 years old and you threw a tantrum in the store and you like fell down to Mom. It's kind of the same concept.
It worked then to some degree. And you'll see people all the time, with their kids. We have an 11-year-old when she was 5 or 6. That was she was riding a leg.
Yep.
She was a lot easier to carry when she was 5 than
she is now. Yes,
so
exactly.
It's the same situation again. At that point, that person's got to get you off the leg. Figure out some way to get you off. Now their arms are going to be working on trying to pry you apart. And at that point, now that frees you up to make a strike on them, especially if they're trying to bend down. You can get a strike into the face. And
the more you're doing that, the more you're exerting their energy also. So hopefully you're wearing them down a little bit and able to.
This is time they weren't planning on. This is energy they weren't planning on. And again, if you are going into a location, people will ask sometimes about self-defense items. If you buy something like pepper spray, train with it. Understand how it works. Understand exactly
spray yourself
some
in the
people will
eyes.
spray themselves. They understand the distance on it. Some have better distances. Some will spray like a hairspray and it'll go everywhere. Some will be a stream. Some a foam. Do research on it.
I
know what you're buying.
Same
way if you decide to buy a taser. Be comfortable with it. Know what the first time that you actually use it or try to understand what's going on is not the time.
When you're in an emergency.
You know what's going on. Even if you do something basic as just keeping your keys in your hand and interlocking your fingertips, or some type of keychain.
I was going to say, we were literally just talking about Jade and I earlier off air, but I was at Wally's of all places, and they sell these keychains, and each one of them are designed and set up in some sort of self-defense way, right? And so one of them, you put the base of it here, and then it's almost like just a jagged, poke, and it's just a keychain.
And that's another one too. Like if you get it, then you need to make sure you know how to feel it, and also you need to strike some with it. Because I tell people all the time, if you've never punched anybody before, when you need to do it, doesn't need to be the first time you punch someone. That's why we train. And people ask me about martial arts styles or Krav Maga. Those are intensive programs. You need to take for a while to get good, or the katas or the styles. If you're looking for something for just basic self-defense, you don't have any background in this. It's something that you're not going to dedicate your life studying.
Right.
Find a RAD class, Rate Progression Defense. I know in the St. Louis area, there used to be multiple universities that taught it. But that, to me, is the best program in a short amount of time to match the scenarios that some of the models can be getting into.
Yes, and give you the skill. Yeah, exactly. Give you the skills needed to get out of a bad situation. Very cool. All right. Any other? Jade want to whip up on Keenan any more here? If not, then I think we're good. All right.
One more nut shot.
All right. One more. Jade's getting her Miss Cosmic on. All right. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Tony. I really appreciate that. I think it's very important. Everything that we just talked about, models, everything that you just learned here today, take it and use it, okay? Make sure that you are checking your surroundings. Make sure that you have a list of safety tips that you follow and you're doing your research, you're checking your location, all of the things that we listed today, all right? I promise it's going to keep you safe and hopefully keep you around for a long, long, long time. Now that Keenan's got his booty kicked and he's laying on the ground, we're out, Cub Scout. Happy Monday. Thank you guys for joining us. Peace and love.